Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I am Bisi Adebayo. Coming up on the program, federal government collaborates with Bayelsa state government to establish an oil and gas institute in the state. And Ibadan residents want electricity distribution company to solve nutrient gap and epileptic power supply. Plus, United Nations Development Programme says 1.9 million people in the Northeast are in urgent need of food and shelter. Organized labor in Kogi State today began an indefinite strike. Well, this directive was given to all civil servants in the state after the outcome of the meeting between the labor union leaders. The chairman of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Kogi State branch, Mr. Ronti Ojo, explains that the industrial action follows the inability of the state government to fulfill any of its promises to the civil servants in the last 1 year.
We want to solemnly let you know that the strike is the only lifeline left for workers in Kogi State to negotiate their survival in the hands of this government. This is because never in the history of our state have civil servants recorded the massive hunger-induced deaths as being witnessed currently, not to talk of the trauma, anguish, pain, sickness, penury, truncations of children's education, huge unsettled house rent and medical bill, etc., that workers and pensioners are currently experiencing.
Developing the capacity for oil exploration and technology workers in the country will boost this sector. Well, this is according to the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Bunaya Onu, when he visited the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State in Yenagoa, the state capital. The Deputy Governor believes this initiative will improve the local contents in the industry.
These are interesting times for the people of Bayelsa State and Nigeria, as the establishment of the proposed Oil and Gas Institute by the Science and Technology Ministry will help to reduce the cost of production of crude oil. The Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State says a lot of technology abounds in the country, waiting to be harnessed. They're also excited that the institute will be established in the state.
There is so much of knowledge. There is so much of documentation at the center that the states only need to key in. A lot of committees that we are setting up at the state, a lot of work has been done there. But the capacity and willingness to share this knowledge and actually use them at this major challenge that we have. But I think your visit has provided us more opportunity for us to look into that.
The minister says it's time for Nigerians to be proactive and think outside the box.
We can't continue to depend on other countries to meet our needs. The time has come for Nigeria to now look inwards and then make sure that we develop the capacity so that all the things we need, we can now produce locally. For example, it doesn't make sense at all that we export crude oil and then import refined petroleum products. So this institute will help us to develop the capacity and the appropriate technologies.
The Oil and Gas Institute, when it begins work in 2018 in Bayelsa State, will also generate employment and wealth for the people.
Well, staying in Bayelsa State, where government has placed more emphasis on education, the state has been ranked amongst the top 10 in the West Africa Examination Council ranking for 2017. Joining us on the program to discuss the steady growth in the education sector in Bayelsa State, we have Mr. Maxon Fefea, who is the Commissioner for Education in this state. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's clear education is one of the top priorities of this government. And of course, we see the evidences speaking for themselves. What is the Seriake Dixon government doing that other states are probably not doing?
Well, to say the least, when the administration of Henry Seriake Dixon, which is called Restoration Administration, came on board on the 14th of February 2012, he made the declaration that after my tenure, the Ijaw nation will never remain the same again. He needed people to know that he has come to work. And to do this, he actually set out to emphasize and declared a state of emergency on education subsector, because he needed to people know that we must change the narrative of our people as militants, as lazy people, and we are not that. We are a very brilliant and bright people, and so we needed somebody with the Midas touch to turn around things. And since he came on board, the passion he has put in the education subsector, about more than 55 billion naira has been sunk there in terms of provision of infrastructure and other areas of development in the education subsector alone. Building of a joint national academy and other model schools, and then even the University of Africa, which is to start this September, and many other development programs and projects, making our people, going to the top. Recently, of course, the NECO rating for Bayelsa is third, 84.5%, Ekiti first with 85% dot, and then Edo second. Then in the WAEC also, they wrote to me and said Bayelsa State has 82.03%. That is even beyond what the media had reported, 74.5% before. So with all these things, only recently, a young Bayelsan who is in the Joint National Academy, one of the best brains we have there, had to win in every subject. It took first in the zonal competition of NNPC development program, and is going for the national. And these are all the examples we have. We're breeding a crop of leadership that will take after us, that will not hold on. So there is a revolution that is going on, which we call a quiet revolution in education, without the bristling agitation or even carrying guns to shed blood. That is what the governor is doing. And again, I say, the thing is, it is a passion he has for them. He knew where he came from, and he said, our area will never remain again the same. When I leave, there will be schools and schools and schools, and everybody must be educated. The literacy level is getting high every day, and for this reason, we are planning a Bayelsa Book Festival, which is coming up in October. And I want to break the news for now. We're working towards that, and many other things are on the way.
Talking about the literacy level now, the literacy ranking released by WAEC for over 4 to 5 years. I mean, it has always been the southeastern states and, of course, then the southwest states taking the lead before the northern states. Why do you think that is so?
You know, when we came on board, like I've said again, Governor Henry Seriaki Dixon and his team discovered that we were just down below the rung of the ladder in academically. And so he needed to beef off. And so what he did to build schools, rehabilitate them, then he gave confidence to teachers. For the very first time, a governor will hold a dinner with all principals and vice principals, and meet with headmasters and teachers like that, and then they had that sense of belonging. And then the team that I lead as a chairman of the education committee, we do not see ourselves as commissioners or permanent secretaries. We sit down with the teachers and negotiate and talk with them, giving them a sense of belonging. For the very first time, the motivation is much more than before. And we are praying to do more. When we will have left this, the scene as those who were in the education subsector, they will know difference. But we pray that it should be sustained. That's what we're trying to do. Yes. And so that's the reason why the leaders will continue to soar higher and higher every day. Because we will leave no stone unturned. We want to ensure that everybody in Bayelsa City must be literate to at least a graduate level. Even at a school side, you can stand on the test of time and stand on your own and do anything you want to do and compete with others outside.
But quickly, in 30 seconds, you just mentioned, of course, some of the things that, the governor has done, even with the teachers. But what's been done to ensure that this is sustained, even after this administration?
Well, these legacies can be sustained through the establishment of boards. And so one of the things he has done was to inaugurate a board after having passed the Bayelsa State Education Development Trust Fund. That's one of them. And then we also have a legacy that we want to give loans out to students. And so we talking about the Students Loan Board. They've been passed into law. We want to inaugurate it very soon. And then recently we are thinking of inaugurating, or rather the governor has initiated the Bayelsa State Science and Technology Development Board. All these ones are the legacies we want to keep. And we pray that the next governor after him, and that administration will be able to sustain these virtues. I call them virtues because they are very, very worthwhile.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maxine Fefe, for joining us on the program.
Thank you. All right.
Well, coming up on news across Nigeria in a moment, Ibadan residents want electricity distribution company to solve metering gap and electric power supply. Do stay with us.